This is Eswatini TV News at 10. I'm Natalie Sitola alongside Sikelo Gunene. First, here's a look at our headlining stories. Prime Minister His Excellency Rasaad Dlamini says the 2026 to 2030 cooperative framework should be tailored to address all the challenges that have engulfed the kingdom. Minister of ICT has launched a capacitation program for girls from different schools countrywide on science and engineering. Preparations for the state opening of the second session of the 12th Parliament are well underway. And now the news in detail. The government of Eswatini is optimistic that there will be peace and harmony in the Republic of Mozambique since a new president has been sworn into office. According to the Prime Minister Rasaad Dlamini, the new president, Daniel Chapo, seems committed in bringing about peace in Mozambique. The Prime Minister was speaking at the King Mswati III International Airport upon arrival from Mozambique, where he was representing His Majesty King Mswati III during the inauguration ceremony of President Daniel Chapo.
Sibheka ukuthi sihambe kahle sekuna umengameli omusha wase-Mozambique umnumzane Daniel Francisco Chapo lo sekungiyena angameleke aphethe ahola ilizwe lase-Mozambique. Umsebenzi uhambe kahle kakhulu bebakhona baholi bemave nalabanye baholi bebamelele njengoba nathi besimelele yona ingonyama lomhlangano lomkhulu kangaka sithokozile ukuthi sibe ingxenye yalo msebenzi nokuthi-ke sethembe ukuthi ngoba sokhona umengameli omusha sekutawuba nekuthula khona eveni lase-Mozambique nekubanga bekubonakala ukuthi ingathi ufuna kuba khona
The Prime Minister, His Excellency Rasaad Dlamini, says the 2026 to 2030 cooperative framework between the UN and the Kingdom of Eswatini should be tailored to address all the challenges that have engulfed the kingdom. The Prime Minister was addressing the United Nations dialogue on the new UN Sustainable Development Cooperative Framework for 2026 to 2030 at the Happy Valley Hotel in Ezulwini.
In 2018, the UN General Assembly made reforms to the United Nations development mechanisms. The idea was to strengthen ownership of the cooperative frameworks between member states and the United Nations. Indeed, on the 1st of October 2020, Eswatini signed its cooperative framework with the United Nations. That framework is coming to an end this year, and deliberations on a new framework that is expected to be operational between 2026 and 2030 are underway. According to the UN resident coordinator George Washira, the UN spent about 810 million malangeni in Eswatini in the last 3 years.
The role of the United Nations in Eswatini has been evolving from that of a donor to a cooperation partner. And we really want to emphasize this point, that the UN in Eswatini has moved away from being a donor agency, a donor organization, to a cooperation partner.
When addressing the meeting, the Prime Minister says it is important for the new framework to have homegrown solutions to Eswatini's existing challenges.
Through this engagement, we are building a stronger foundation of mutual understanding, paving the way for a united and aligned vision to guide our collective efforts. As a country, we celebrate our rich cultural heritage, the beauty of our people, and the beauty of our land, and our resilient spirit and determination to achieve our vision. We also acknowledge that the Kingdom of Eswatini is faced with a series of challenges which we must overcome in order to achieve our vision of transformation. These challenges, many of which were highlighted during the People's Parliament at Sibaya, are undeniable.
The framework will have solutions on how to fund and transform the education sector, implementing reforms in the health sector, and strengthening social security. For Eswatini TV News, I am Lincoln Gule. with Bongani Masuku Ezulwini.
Preparations for the state opening of the second session of the 12th Parliament are well underway. This was said by Clerk to Parliament Benedict Xaba on Thursday.
As anticipation builds across the nation for the state opening of the second session of the 12th Parliament, as announced by the Senate President Senator Lindiwe Dlamini, in an interview, Clerk to Parliament Benedict Xaba said preparations are well underway for the state opening of the second session of the 12th Parliament, as they had the first meeting with government officials on Wednesday. The Clerk to Parliament says staff is working tirelessly to ensure that everything is in place for the historic event, which marks the beginning of a new chapter for the legislative affairs.
We are almost ready. I'll say if you use percentage, we're at 80% ready. So the preparations outside, you can see that even the marquee has gone up. So that shows that the work is very, very close. So I would like to really emphasize in the issue of invitations that we shall do official invitations in due course where people are going to come to Parliament. Due to the fact that our chamber is not very big, our gallery can only accommodate 180 people. You can see that a limited number of people will be in the gallery. So it will be honorable members of Parliament and few others, but others will have an access where we have got a marquee. So they'll be following there. After that, they go to the main marquee then for the final part of the state opening. So everyone will have access there, but specifically when you have got a card. So without a card, no one is going to have access to Parliament. But we are happy that we have got our media channels, so people will be accessing the proceedings live at home through our different media channels. So I'm going to encourage everyone to follow those channels.
The Clerk to Parliament also said the first rehearsal session will be held next week Wednesday, and the last will be 2 days prior to the historic event. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Samkal Suekoza, Parliament.
Girls from different schools in the 4 regions of the country will be capacitated on science and engineering under a program called Mission Shakti Sat. The Minister for ICT, Senator Savannah Mazia, was part of the project that was launched virtually on Thursday.
Under the program called Mission Shaktisat, 12,000 girls from the 108 countries will be part of the program. This is aimed at empowering girls in science and engineering as well as space robotics. Speaking during the launch of the program that was held virtually on Thursday, the Minister for ICT, Senator Savannah Mazia, says this program will bridge the gap that exists in gender equality.
It's very clear that when you empower women, you empower society, you empower the earth, and now we're going to be empowering space. As the saying says, we hold up half the sky. Space science is pivotal in the 4th and 5th industrial revolutions, driving advancements in artificial intelligence, robotics, and big data. Technology is essential for connectivity, environmental monitoring, and resource management. Recognizing this,
the minister then announced Kulile Dlamini from the ministry as the ambassador of the program.
Batawukale bafunze online for about 3 months, 120 hours. So ngalo ukuthi sisebenzisa abantu abesikolo sizama ukuthi basebenzise isikhathi nabo sabo naso labanaso less free.
Kulile says girls will be selected from different schools in the 4 regions of the country, both rural and urban schools equally. She says the training will be held online, then one learner will be selected to go to India under the program. She says 14 to 18-year-olds high school girls will be selected. She says they are in partnership with science teachers who will help select the capable learners in the subject. She says they will balance between subjects so as not to interrupt the learners' studies. Reporting I'm Kian Msibi with Smuva Shongwe and Skulile Dlamini, Mbabane.
Government is committed to strengthening systems that will ensure food security in the kingdom and that all communities have access to clean water. This was revealed by the Honourable Prime Minister at Mafutsheni constituency when distributing food parcels to Mafutsheni residents.
According to the Integrated Food Security Phase Classification From October 2024 to March 2025, about 269,000 Amaswati will experience acute food insecurity. In trying to mitigate what seems like a dire situation, the government of Eswatini has moved swiftly in trying to assist Amaswati with food. The Prime Minister visited Mafutseni constituency to deliver much-needed food aid.
Distributwa kula malanga ukuthi awufika etinkhundleni tonke jikelele eVengelangwane kepha ke kutanga ngetigaba ngama phases. Siyacela ke vele ukuthi sibe nabakithi samukele lendlela litiko leliphinda ndvulankulu na NDM ebalungise ngayo. Nase bakhonile kuthenga utawufuna ke bese sekuqala ke le second phase. Yona leta uthola le target ke yona 269,000 abantu ukuthi ke seyakhula ke abantu abatawuzuza kuwo.
Chief Gicha says chiefs have an important role to play in assisting government to ensure food security in the kingdom. Speaking on behalf of the beneficiaries was Exodus Mpamad, who said the food situation is bad in the kingdom. Nonetheless, they are grateful to government for assisting them. Mafutseni Member of Parliament also applauded government for ensuring that the vulnerable Amaswati are protected and fed. The Prime Minister then went to Kapudla Chiefdom, still under Mafutseni constituency. The residents pleaded with government to provide clean water. The Prime Minister assured the residents that indeed government is doing something to address the water challenges at Kapudla.
Sivele sihlebile ke na minister lapha ukuthi cha kavela alanze ngongqwedi baka khachabuye la.
Through the government action plan, government promises to construct 8 dams in all the 4 regions of the kingdom. For Eswatini TV News, I'm LinkedIn Kule Bongane Masuku, Mafutseni.
With individual small and medium enterprise holders raising a concern that documents of tendering processes are expensive, the Eswatini Public Procurement Regulatory Agency says different efforts are being made to ensure preferential treatment for SMEs. Manager Capacity Building Tulile Sfunza says they are aware of the challenges faced by small-scale businesses.
Individual small and medium enterprise holders say their wish is to be part of government tenders, but this never materializes sometimes. The Business Federation of Eswatini shares their comment on the matter.
The tender document itself, it's very costly. You have to pay for it, though you might not actually get the tender, but you have to pay for the document. There is no segregation of the procurement. It's just for everyone. Nothing is reserved for the small businesses. So everyone just compete.
Tulisile Sifunza, Manager Capacity Building at ESPPRA, gives some of the efforts done to reduce the cost of the tendering process.
There is also the move towards introducing digital procurement, what we call electronic government procurement or EGP, which will then allow the registration of suppliers into one system, and they will also allow the integration now in between all the statutory issuing organizations. So now it will make it easier for suppliers to actually have one system where they can just be able to log in, right, and then make all those arrangements necessary with the other organizations, pay dues or whatever dues that are necessary with those organizations, but it will happen in one portal. Another activity that the government has already started working on is actually the review of the legislation. Yes, the review of the legislation that will enable the introduction of the electronic government procurement, as well as it is our wish that now the review will also incorporate areas that will actually speak to they will also support other legislations that the country have that will speak to preferential scheme.
The Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade has done its part to ensure that small-scale businesses get a share in big projects through the Citizens Economic Empowerment Act. The act is designed to ensure that business opportunities are reserved for local entrepreneurs, particularly in the government procurement space. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Dlangamandla, Vumenkosi Nzinisa Mbabane.
And now let's have a look at our financial indicators.
Standard Bank.
And here's a look at sugar indicators by ISO. And moving on with the bulletin, following the recent cases of youth being arrested for allegedly sexually abusing elderly women, the Ministry of Health, Mental Health focal person Sindiso Bembe says this may be caused by young boys not coping with rejection after proposing love to girls their age. She says this may also be caused by substance abuse. Reports in the news have cited cases that include a 22-year-old man, Bayandas Milane, who was arrested for allegedly sexually assaulting a 72-year-old woman and forcing another aged 74 to strip naked. In another incident in Mkitsini, a 17-year-old boy who is still school-going was arrested for allegedly sexually assaulting an 80-year-old woman. These are just some of the reported cases from the end of 2024 through the beginning of this year. Bembe provides further explanation for the behavior of these youth.
You'll find that they will go out and maybe ask somebody out, and you find that maybe they are rejected. And because of that particular age they're at, obviously they are having feelings, and they are having some sensations that they want to fulfill. So if they are not able to control those feelings and feelings that they are having, you might find that they will want to then let it out on somebody else who is actually powerless, like an elderly. Because they were rejected by their peers, they will then go for somebody that is older, and because they are powerless, then they will go and have their way with them. And particularly, it's all about gratification. So it's all about the gratification in their minds, and they're not making sound decisions. When you have taken substances, it also disturbs how you think. It also disturbs your judgment. So you might find that you may definitely find that because of the substances, they are pushed to make decisions that are not sound, and decisions that if otherwise they had not taken anything, they might not have taken that decision. So substances may also contribute to such poor decision making. So you can always chat with other gentlemen to see how they are handling such challenges. But if you feel you are overwhelmed with all of that, you can always get help. There's help that you can get, maybe in terms of counseling or any other services or therapy that is available. But you also need to be the one that is seeing that you have a problem, and you get up and get the help.
Still on the issue of elderly women being sexually abused by younger men, Gwaka Indvodza Executive Director Sonny Dlamini expresses his disappointment with these occurrences. He says they plan to intensify efforts to educate men and guide young men.
It is very sad to see young people now going down this drain, which is unswazi and uncommon in our society. As we've been preaching and encouraging young people to respect first and foremost human rights, to respect themselves, and to also uphold and defend the rights of the most vulnerable members of society. This incident showcases the fact that elderly people are vulnerable and have been left unattended and not protected by our communities and families.
And moving on to sports, Mzimba View Shisanyama establishment has extended their hand in football by sponsoring Premier League side Ezulwini United with a package of 50,000 imalangeni. The sponsorship was launched in October last year.
I'm sure some of you will wonder, why do we partner with Mzimba View? The reason being, Mzimba View is a Ezulwini-based company establishment. And the other reason is that we partnered with the entertainment establishment because we have seen that there's a need for entertainment in the soccer fraternity. Hence, we thought if we partner with them, Mzimba View, I'm sure we've seen that the number of supporters, so we thought partnering with Mzimba View will sort of assist the teams in terms of what we have enough supporters at the stadium.
We hope that together we will be able to overcome whatever obstacles come along the way. We know there will be challenges. The road to success is paved with a lot of hardships. But I think if we put all our effort and all our minds together, we can make the soccer team a success in the Premier League. And we hope the best for the team, and we are actually proud to be part of it.
That's all for now. Before I go, here's a reminder of our headlining stories. The Prime Minister, His Excellency Rasa Dlamini, says the 2026 to 2030 cooperative framework should be tailored to address all the challenges that have engulfed the kingdom. Minister of ICT has launched a capacitation program for girls from different schools countrywide on science and engineering. Preparations for the state opening of the second session of the 12th Parliament are well underway. And it's a wrap. I'll leave you now with the weather update from myself and the team. As always, thank you for tuning in. Take care.
Eswatini TV has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Eswatini Communications Commission. We are committed to reporting news that is